Alright, today we're going to be explaining how to use the software Geometer's Sketchpad in a secondary classroom. To start, you're going to go to the Finder. You're going to go to Applications. You're going to scroll until you get to Sketchpad. You're going to click on Sketchpad. And then you're going to go to the GSPX 4.07. You're going to click that. And then it should open. Alright, and so this little toolbar right here is what you're going to want to reference whenever you're doing something on Sketchpad. So let's increase this. Alright, so the first thing we're going to show is graphing. And so if you want to create a graph, you go to the Graph tab up here. You go to Grid Form, and to start, we're going to start with a square grid. Alright, now we're going to construct line segments. Back here at the toolbar, we're going to go and click on this line segment button, and we're going to go to the graph, and where your circle lights up, that's where you will start. You're going to click and you can create a line segment. Then you let go and you have a line segment. And then if you want to create a line, you go back to the toolbar, you click and hold, you will go to the third line with two arrows on both sides. You'll let go, go back to your graph, and it'll go and graph in both directions. So there. Alright, and if you want to create coordinates on your graph, you can go to Graph, you can go to Plot Points, and this will come up, and you can type in your points that you want to plot. So for example, we'll do 4 and we'll do 5. And right there is your point 4, 5. Alright, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the line segments, and we're going to show you how to do array. We're going to go to the second option with the arrow on only one side. Going to go back to your graph, and then it'll go in one direction as opposed to the lines which go in two directions. So you can graph like that.
Okay, so next we're going to show you how to plot a function on this coordinate plane. So if you go up to Graph, you can press New Function and type in any function you want. So say x squared. Press OK, and it will show you at the top left-hand corner what your equation is. Also, if you go back to Graph, you can plot the function. You can type in the same thing or a different function if you want to. Press OK, and then it will plot it right on screen. And then you can see, and it also puts the equation in the top left corner. Next, we're going to find the slope of a line, but we're going to bring up a new sketch so it's more clear. So once you go to File and bring up another sketch, you can make it bigger if you want. Go ahead back to Graph, Grid Form, and Square Graph like we did before. If you go to the Line Segment button, you can create another line anywhere you want. And then if you go up to Measure, go down to Slope, it'll give you the exact slope for that line segment. You can also go back to the Line tool and click the third one. Make another line anywhere you want. Go to Measure. You can find the slope of that line as well. And you can also measure the equation of it. So you get the slope and the entire equation for that line. Also, you can go up to measure, graph actually, and you can press on snap points and press any point you want, and it will make the line going off what point you clicked on. And after you plot that, it'll give you can measure the slope and equation of that same line. But for snap points, you get to pick a certain point and go off of that. And there's the equation for that line that I created from snap points. So now we're going to go into constructing circles, and I'm going to open a new sketch. So here's our third one. I'm going to make it bigger. And here, if you go over to your toolbar, you can press the circle button, and anywhere on your sketch, construct a circle. Make it as big as you want. And since this is highlighted on the outside, you can go to measure, and this software will measure the circumference of it, and it will come in the top left corner. And then if you highlight it again, you can go to measure and get area of your circle. And also, once you highlight it again, you can get the equation of the circle. And it'll bring up the grid form of it and then show you exactly how the circle is plotted.
Alright, now we're going to open another new sketch, and we're going to construct a triangle to begin with. So first we're going to go back to the line tool. We're going to go to the line segment where there are no arrows on either end, and we're going to construct a line segment. Now we're going to construct two other line segments, and we're going to make sure they connect to a point that we've already had. So we construct a line segment here, and then to finish a triangle we're going to click here, make sure it matches to this point. And then we have a triangle. Now we can also do some transformations with this triangle by highlighting it, and then we go to transform, and we're going to translate it. So we're going to move it, we'll say 5 centimeters above. And so we'll translate it up here. Then we're going to go transform again. We're going to go rotate, and we can rotate it a certain amount of degrees depending on how many we put in. So we'll put in 45, and we rotate the triangle. Then we can also go back to transform, and we can dilate it. So we can change the scale that's at. So we just changed it to make it smaller than the original scale. And you can put in any values you want, make it as big or small as you want. And there, see, made it even smaller. Alright, so we're going to go back to our main triangle. Maybe. We're going to make a new triangle, actually. If I delete everything, we're going to go back to the line tool, we're going to make a new triangle. So, connect all your points. And we're going to show a reflection. So we go back to transform, we go to reflect, and it reflects on this side. So, a mirror image of it there. Alright. So now that we've showed you how to do transformations, we're going to open a new sketch, And then we're going to show you how to do custom tools. So custom tools are different files that allow you to do even more on Geometer Sketchpad. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to Finder, and you should already have this window up from opening Geometer Sketchpad. And we're going to go to Samples. And then you can choose and you can pick different custom tools. To start out, we're going to do polygons. So we're going to click on polygons, and then you're going to get an explanation as to what to do with different polygons and whatnot. So we're going to go back to our original window, and we're going to click back on the toolbar. We're going to go to the very last button, and we're going to hold on it. And we're going to scroll down, we're going to go to polygons, and then we can choose a specific polygon that we would like to create. So if you would like to create a square, we'll click on this, and then we can create a square. And then you could do all sorts of transformations with it. You can translate it. You can so you can do that. You can rotate. You can dilate. You can reflect it, just like we did with the other triangle. So you can do all sorts of different types of shapes. You can go back to polygons. You can do squares. You can do pentagons. You can do hexagons, octagons, and even 17agons. So there we go.
Another custom tool you can use if you go back to is conics. If you press on that, you can pull up the conics explanation, and if you hold down the custom toolbar button, you can go down to all these conics that you can construct. So if you want to make an ellipse, press 2 points down, and then you can make the ellipse however you want it, and you can kind of change it up and see how they change by making it bigger or smaller. And you can also do it for parabolas, hyperbolas, and lots of different things. And one more that you can use that might be helpful are fractions and triangle centers. And the last thing that we want to show you is if you open up a new sketch, make it bigger, you can graph in the form of a polar grid as well. And you can go up to graph, plot new function. So you can plot any function that you want to see in the polar form. And we're going to put in 3, go to functions, cosine, values, theta, and then press OK. Press yes, and then it'll show you what this looks like in polar form.
Alright, and so the application of the software is in a secondary classroom is to visualize or have students visualize these concepts with on a screen, some things that they may not be able to understand just from hearing a teacher talk about it. It allows them to be actively engaged.
And visualize what you're learning.
Right. So it's a great hands-on program for kids to use, or for students to use of all ages, from elementary to even college. And so that's Geometer Sketchpad.